$1. It looks so small, huh? So much so that a lot of people don't even care if they come across it on the street. Try to be honest. If you see $1 falling right now, do you take the bait or go through? Now there's the problem. We too often assume that small amounts of money are meaningless. In fact, every big money ever made always started with something small. Not about the nominal, but the decision behind it. A dollar can be anything. It can be spent, it can be spun, it can be transformed into something that has more value, and from there, the fighting effect starts. Sound simple? Yes? Done? Well, that's a different story. Hence, in this video, we will be looking at some ways how $1 could be the start of something bigger. It's not just about money, but a way of thinking. And maybe, after this, you'll start to see small money in a different way. Because the question no longer is, it's just $1 at a time. But what can I do with this? Let's be honest. If I give you $1 right now, what would you do with it? Spend it? Ignore it? Or lose it somewhere in your room? That's the problem. Most people don't see value in small things. But here's where it gets interesting. What if that $1 isn't just money, but a starting move? Think about it. You walk into a small shop or a street market. You don't look for something expensive. You look for something undervalued. Something simple, maybe even something people usually ignore. Sounds boring? Yeah, at first, but here's the twist. Value isn't fixed, it's created. That cheap item you bought, to the right person, in the right moment, can feel more valuable. Maybe you present it better, bundle it, or sell it where people actually need it. Suddenly, that $1 turns into $2. Maybe $3. It's not magic, it's perception. Trade has been around forever, long before banks, apps, or even modern money. And yet, most people today still don't understand it. Why? Because they're waiting for big money, instead of learning how to grow small money. And yeah, you might fail at first. Maybe no one buys your item. Maybe you pick the wrong thing. It happens. But that's the lesson. You're not just trading objects. You're training your instincts. Learning how people think. Learning how to spot opportunities others walk past every single day. So next time you see a single dollar, don't underestimate it, because sometimes the smallest start creates the biggest shift. All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever bought something super cheap, then later realized it could have looked way more expensive with just a little effort? That's exactly where most people miss the opportunity. They think, I need more money to make money. But what if? You just need to make things look more valuable. This is called value flipping. Imagine you buy a simple item for $1. It's dusty, messy, maybe even a little ugly. Most people would scroll past it or ignore it completely. But you clean it, fix it, maybe bundle it with something else or present it in a smarter way. Suddenly, it doesn't feel like a $1 item anymore. Funny, right? Same object, different perception. And here's the truth. People don't just pay for the product, they pay for convenience, for presentation, for that feeling of, this is worth it. Think about restaurants. They take basic ingredients, stuff you could buy cheaply, and turn it into something you're willing to pay 10 times for. Not because it's rare, but because it's prepared well. So the real problem isn't lack of money. It's lack of creativity. Yeah, maybe your first attempt won't sell. Maybe it still looks meh. That's normal. You're learning what people value. But once you get it right, that small $1 item can turn into something bigger, just because you made it better. So next time you see something cheap, don't ask, is this valuable? Ask, how can I make this valuable? Okay. But what if I told you the real upgrade isn't trading, it's creating? Let me ask you, have you ever looked at something super simple, like paper, string, or random cheap stuff, and thought, this is useless? Yeah, most people do. And that's exactly why they stay stuck, because the third method isn't about finding value. It's about making value from nothing. Imagine this. You take $1, buy some basic materials. Nothing fancy. Honestly, it might even look like trash at first. But then you sit down, use your hands, your ideas, and turn it into something new. Maybe a small decoration, a handmade item, something unique. Now here's the crazy part. People don't pay for the material, they pay for the creativity. That same cheap paper, as a blank sheet, worth almost nothing, but turned into something meaningful or aesthetic, suddenly people want it. Why? Because originality is rare. Look at artists, designers, creators. They're not using expensive materials all the time. They're just using imagination better than everyone else. Of course, not everything you make will look amazing. Some things might look kind of weird at first. Yeah, we've all been there. But that's the process. Because once creativity kicks in, money stops being the limit. So don't just ask, what can I buy with $1? Ask, what can I create with it? That's where things really start to change. Now here's where things get a little crazy. What if I told you that $1 can go way further online than in real life? Seriously, what can you even buy offline with $1 today? Not much, right? That's the problem. But online, that same dollar can unlock tools, templates, music, even small digital assets. Sounds small, but don't underestimate it. Because the fourth method is all about going digital. Imagine this. You spend $1 on a simple template or resource, just once. You use it to create something, maybe a design, a short video, or content. And here's the part most people don't realize. You don't just use it once, you can reuse it, improve it, duplicate it. Again, and again, and again. That's the power of digital. In the real world, you sell one item, you're done. But in the digital world, you create once, and it can work for you hundreds, even thousands of times. That's called scale. Of course, it's not instant. Your first creation might get ignored. Maybe 0 views. Yeah, it hurts a little. But every version gets better. And eventually, one of them hits. So the question isn't, what can I buy with $1? It's, what can I build once that keeps working for me? Because online, small money doesn't stay small for long. Let me ask you something real quick. What's the smartest thing you can actually buy with $1? Most people would say food, maybe something small, maybe nothing at all. But what if the best thing you could buy isn't something you use, but something you learn? Sounds boring? Yeah, I know. Learning doesn't feel exciting at first. That's the problem. People chase quick results, but ignore the one thing that actually multiplies everything: knowledge. Imagine this. You take that $1 and spend it on a guide, a short course, maybe even a simple ebook. It's cheap, nothing crazy. But inside that small purchase is an idea, a skill, a way of thinking you didn't have before. And here's where it gets interesting. Money runs out. But knowledge? It stacks. Once you learn something, you can use it again. And again. And again. It opens new doors, new opportunities, new ways to make money that didn't exist for you before. Look at most successful people. They didn't start with huge capital. They started with curiosity, with trial and error. With learning things most people were too lazy to even try. Of course, not every resource will change your life. Some might even feel useless. Yeah, it happens. But all it takes is one idea that clicks. So next time you have $1, don't just think, what can I get right now? Ask yourself, what can I learn that pays me forever? That's when money stops being the limit and starts becoming the result. Let me flip the idea for a second. What if the smartest move with $1 is not spending it at all? Sounds weird, right? But think about it. What if that dollar isn't for buying, but for starting? This is where microservices come in. Simple question. How many people around you need small help every day? Carrying something, organizing stuff, editing a file, delivering something nearby. Easy tasks. Nothing complicated. The problem? Most people ignore these opportunities because the money looks too small. But small doesn't mean useless. Imagine you use that $1 as motivation, your starting line. You offer a simple service. Maybe the first job pays just a little. Not impressive. Maybe even feels like, seriously, this is it? Yeah, that's how it starts. But here's the shift. When you show up, do the job well, and stay reliable, people notice. Trust builds. And trust That's where the real money is hiding. One small task turns into two, then bigger ones. Then suddenly, people start coming to you. Funny enough, it was never about the dollar. It was about proving you can create value without needing much at all. So instead of asking, what can I buy with this? Try asking, what can I do with this? Because sometimes the smallest start builds the strongest reputation.
All right, let's talk about something super simple, but weirdly powerful. Reselling. Let me ask you, have you ever thrown something away and later realized someone else would have paid for it? Yeah, we've all done that. And that right there, that's the opportunity most people miss. Because reselling isn't about creating something new. It's about seeing what others don't see. Imagine this. You're walking through a flea market, scrolling online listings, or checking a random discount bin. Most people just pass by. Nothing interesting here. But you stop, you notice one item. Maybe it looks ordinary, maybe a bit undervalued, but in your head, you're already thinking, someone out there would want this. That's the skill, observation. Now, sure, at the beginning, you might pick the wrong item. Nobody buys it. You're stuck thinking, okay, bad idea. Happens to everyone. But once you start understanding what people actually want, that gap between buying cheap and selling higher becomes your profit. And here's the crazy part. Some of the biggest businesses in the world are built on this exact idea. They don't always create, they connect. So next time you see something useless, don't just walk past it. Ask yourself, am I missing the value here? Because sometimes money isn't made by working harder. It's made by seeing smarter. Let me ask you something. Why do people always think making money has to be a solo mission? Like it's you against the world. That's exhausting and honestly not always smart. Because here's the truth. Money often grows faster when people work together. Think about it. What can $1 do alone? Not much. But combine it with other people, ideas, skills, effort, and suddenly it's not just a dollar anymore. It's momentum. This is where community changes everything. Imagine you and a few people each bring something small. Maybe one has an idea, another has skills, someone else has time. Your dollar becomes part of something bigger, a small project, a shared goal, maybe even a simple business. Sounds simple, right? But here's the problem. Trust. People hesitate. What if it doesn't work? What if someone messes it up? Valid fears. But without collaboration, you're limited to only what you can do. And that's a pretty small ceiling. When people actually work together, real trust, real contribution, the value multiplies way beyond the sum of each part. Funny enough, it's not always about competing harder. Sometimes it's about cooperating smarter. So instead of asking, how do I grow this alone? Try asking, who can I grow this with? Because the fastest way up isn't always by yourself. Let me be real with you for a second. What if the most valuable thing you can build isn't money at all? It's skill. Think about it. Have you ever tried something new and thought, wow, I'm actually terrible at this? Yeah, same. Yeah. Everyone starts there. It's awkward, slow, sometimes even frustrating. And that's the problem. Yeah, most people quit right there. Yeah. But here's the difference. Skills are one of the only things that increase in value over time. The more you practice, the more valuable you become. Yeah. Now imagine this. You use that $1 to get started. Yeah. Maybe it buys a simple tool, basic materials, or even just pushes you to begin. Nothing fancy. At first, the results are small. Maybe you earn a little or nothing at all. It feels discouraging, right? But every time you practice, you're stacking experience, improving without even realizing it. Then one day, something clicks. That same skill that once felt worthless, suddenly people are willing to pay for it more than you expected. And here's the crazy part. It wasn't about the dollar. It was about consistency. Of course, it takes time. There's no overnight success here. Yeah, I know. Not what people want to hear. But every small step, it compounds. So instead of asking, how do I make money fast? Ask yourself, what skill can I build that pays me for years? All because money can disappear, but a skill that stays with you and keeps growing.